Well, hello, and welcome to the second episode of the Hybrid Seed World series. This episode, we may be focusing on the speciation as occurred on the seed world and the new introductions. To start off, let's talk about the different species that are derived from Maddie species. Maddie species specifically are diversifying like nuts because, well, just how many open bird niches are there on the seed world since she's the only species of bird on the planet currently. Another factor that's causing Maddie to speciate, and matter of fact, this factor will also cause the Indom to speciate as well, is the lack of food. You see, the gamels and the beefalo, which makes a key cornerstone of their diet, are going extinct. The reason why they're going extinct is because none of their contributors had anything to prepare them to withstand predation of predators of this magnitude. But the gams might just make it, since both their ancestors are far more used to arid climates where the Indom would not like to go, and they are far more used to being preyed upon by large birds like Maddie. So what is this large bird going to do? Well, there is one food source that hasn't been very well tapped in by most animals on the planet. Fruit. Fruits like oranges and grapes, and seasonally pumpkins. Maddie also can tap into the rich banquet of clover on the planet, since clover is actually very nutritious. This will cause some of Maddie's species to turn into the dire parrot hawk. But another species got desperate and started to eat clover flowers on a regular basis. But this actually helped the clover, since this allows them to disperse farther thanks to the birds. This gave rise to the dire pigeon owl and the white wheat clover. But another branch of Maddie's species will reduce in size and start eating insects. This branch will be known as the crow hawk. And the fourth species is weird for multiple reasons. Foremost which, how it came to be. From a single breeding pair. Yes, you see, the entire species is a crossbreed. Of what, you may ask? Well, a male crow hawk and a female dire parrot. Just to keep in mind, the size difference between these two is the difference between an Arvis tavis and a normal crow. How they did it? We saw how, but yeah, it has never been repeated again. We actually end up catching those two individuals just to understand how. We still don't understand how. We still don't. Also, leave your suggestion in the comment of what to name these two. Okay, back on track. You think that's the weird part? It also it is the weirdest part, but it gets a bit weirder. For one, how smart these things are. Like, crows are smart. Crows are a part of the genetic contributor, but these guys are geniuses, I tell ya. But also their size. They're bigger than Maddie. How? Just how? And their diet too. They eat everything. And I mean everything. I think I actually saw one eating bark once. Yeah. And what they're called? Oh yeah. Titan ravens. That's what they're called. We're not gonna call them dire. No, Titan. These guys are ginormous for a bird. Especially when that sail flies. I am terrified of these things. And now let's talk about the ape T-Rex, the Indom. You see, the Indom is facing about all the problems that Maddie species is facing, but to extreme extent. Because, well, the easy prey of gamels and beefalo weren't that feeling for it in the first place due to the size difference, and all the prey that would be feeling are extremely dangerous. And keep in mind, this is after all the buffs. Luckily, those buffs that we gave to the Indom will help. Specifically, the reduced metabolism and having males. I'm talking about them, I should probably show what the male Indom actually looks like, since all the previous Indoms before this point are all female. So just me, and just... There we go. So is the Indom doomed? Is the Indom destined for extinction? No, not at all. You see, there's a niche that Maddie is just unable to get into, and the Indom is uniquely adapted for. What is that niche? Piscivore, aka a seafood diet. This is especially good since there has been a lack of predation on the marine life, and all the different species of koi, cichlids, crawdads, shrimp, clams, and tilapia have gotten a bit out of control. This change in lifestyle will give rise to the Indominus baryonyx. I don't have a common name for these guys, so leave your suggestion in the comments of what to call these guys normally. Thanks to this diet, the local large herbivores are very tolerant of the Indominus baryonyx. But talking about the large herbivores, Reiner developed his own subspecies that's consistently a bit larger on average, but smaller than the largest individuals of Reiner's species. And this subspecies also developed a larger mane and a small nasal horn. And these guys are called the fluffy raiders. But do keep in mind, these guys can still produce viable offspring of the main species. And for Ceratopsian, a population became more Apatosaurus-like, their necks lower to the ground graze. And this subspecies is known as the grazing Ceratopsian. Name implies why they got that name. And that should be done with step 1 of Chimera. We create the planet, we see the planet, and we let the seeded organisms adapt to this new environment. Now then, time for step 2. And let me first make an announcement to the crew and get my voice prepared. Attention all crew! It's time for the second stage of seeding. Initiate the Emowincus protocol. Prepare the selected, submitted hybrids for seeding and send them to the lower deck to be properly prepared for departure. And terraformers sector prepare for the creation of a new island chain. Man, that voice is hard to do. Anyways, as you can tell, stage 2 is about to commence, and is commenced. Let's see the submitted hybrids and plants that's going to be added, along with one submitted environment as well, which will be added to the new island chain of Emowincus. Now let's see the new organisms that will be seeded on the world, and some of their speciation that will occur after initial seeding. 2 submitted by Axeman are... I'm going to butcher these names. Talking about butcher. Pelter Van Regum, Armored Hunter of Kings, also named Jack the Ripper, and I nicknamed Butcher. And the second one, I'm not going to try to pronounce this, it's this.
Gigantopithecus serratus.
Yeah, that. And he didn't give a common name, so I'm just going to call it the Minotaur Sloth. And I'm going to be blunt, we all know where he's going. He's going to straight to minus. Straight to minus. He's going over there too. You know it. And here's the components for each. I'm going to be blunt, I am surprised at the selection he did for each one. Especially the... No, they're not especially that one or this one. They're just both unique. But I will only talk about the subspecies that the armored king hunter will develop. And said descendant is very reminiscent of a saber-toothed tiger in build and behavior, especially towards its prey preference and social behavior. Despite some infight here and then, they actually live in surprisingly large packs, usually getting up to the 20s. but they also show some weird behavior. Matter of fact, both species show some weird behavior. Due to the Jurassic Park 3 Velociraptor genome, they are both very intelligent and able to not only keep a grudge, but the exact opposite as well. So they actually form a symbiotic relationship with two unlikely creatures. With the subspecies specifically forming a symbiotic relationship with the Ceratopsian, gaining the nickname Zion Guard, and it's actually his official name too, and both species forming a mutualistic relationship with the Indominus baryonyx from earlier. But I also should explain more on the Ceratopsian relationship part. It does not have the symbiotic relationship with the main species. Zyngard will only guard the smaller, for now, subspecies of the grazers. This is due to in part because the grazers are more down to earth, both in behavior and in stature. So they actually can, recognize and look the Zyngards in the eye easier. Also, I'd like to add, when these guys were originally submitted to me, I presumed the guy who composed their genome was also their artist. I was wrong. Their actual artist was Lego Kaiju Rex himself. If you don't know why that's a big deal, he does all the artwork, or at least the majority of it, for the Sky Hybrid War. You can see why that's a big deal. So I kind of scared of messing with these guys too much. A matter of fact, a lot of hybrids that were submitted to me for the Seed World looks like they were done in his art style. I don't know they were actually done by him or not, but yeah. So that's a big concern. Speaking of a hybrid that got submitted that looks like he got done in his art style, this guy, I cannot pronounce his name for some reason, so I'll just go let Word pronounce it for me.
Cervus cornutus comatus.
Yeah, that. Let's go call him Service to shorten it down so I can actually pronounce it. Luckily, his contributors have common names, so this is going to be pretty easy. And since it is only 5, here goes. His base is seemingly Irish elk, but a heavy amount of Clydesdale influences his genome, along with pronghorn, musk ox, and capybara. The best way to describe him, he is just a flat-out better Irish elk, since he has a good bit of semi-aquatic capabilities thanks to the capybara, and good cold resistance thanks to the Irish elk and the musk ox and the Clydesdale, and endurance thanks to the Clydesdale and the pronghorn. The first subspecies of this elk was greatly aided by the illustration made by Prehistoric Hooter, who originally made an outline for this. He also made some other outlines for some other hybrids. I made a post about it a bit ago, so you can go check it out. He also has a YouTube channel, so yeah. But yeah, back to subject. The runner elk, the first subspecies, or the run elk. Runner, blah. But yeah, this subspecies, as the name implies, is far more agile than its predecessor, way exaggerating the pronghorn and horse traits. But because of it, it is far more fragile than its predecessor. So the females actually developed a pair of antlers, unlike their predecessor. Which surprised me. I talked to the original creator of this guy, and he said, nope, the females do not grow a pair of antlers. So that's was a bit interesting to me. But this subspecies does. But the more derived member of the family, the greater moose, as the name implies, is very moose-like in behavior and build. You can see in the face, but also has webbed toes as well. Thanks to the capybara for that. and the muskox to a lesser extent. But his antlers are where it's at, since they only partially shed thanks to the pronghorn antelope genes taking a greater hold. But also, both male and females have near identical antlers as well because of it. Best way to describe this creature's ecology is like a mixture between a moose and a capybara, where it is somewhat aggressive but not very aggressive, and it's somewhat social but not very social. And for the first ceratopsian being added to the Sea World, Tundra-rhinosaurus. As their name implies, they're well adapted to the tundras. But, of course, there is no tundras on the Sea World, so I guess they have to make it on the coldest parts on this most southern part only continent. Well, see to be... Oh, they're everywhere now. Turns out it's not that hard to change your hair, or just lose it. So they even got to Minos somehow. How they got to the island? They just swim there. They just swim there, man. It's not that hard, especially how shallow the water is, and it's all fresh water too. So it wasn't that hard. And also Therotychans. Hitchhiking, man. This next hybrid was actually built for the Sky Hybrid War. The Squirrel bat, as the name implies, is primarily squirrel and bat. I actually think it does have a very fast flying speed. I don't know how well it developed since I don't see any, little pinky finger to help it fly. So maybe that would have been a suggestion I should have made to change it up some. But anyways, back on subject. Despite it being a squirrel, it actually eats fruit because most of its contributors are fruit eaters, and the ones that aren't are bug eaters. So, despite looking like a squirrel, its primary diet is more like a bat. But the squirrel bat has developed a noble subspecies, the red-backed squirrel bat. That's hard to say. But yes, this subspecies is far more terrestrial compared to its predecessor. But other than that, it basically is near identical. They share the same diet and food preferences, so there's a lot of interbreeding between the two populations. So a true speciation probably won't occur for a long time. And that should be it for the hybrids and their subspecies. I was planning to add some more hybrids and some subspecies, but for one, as a famous speaker box once said, budget cuts. Second thing, reevaluating some of the hybrids and actually looking more on their stats. Yeah, some of them just were not good. We're not good at all. But yeah, Prehistoric Recruiter also recommended me to add some new plants, like mangroves, which, he also recommended I should do a mangrove biome. And accompanying to that, he also recommended me to have fertile grass and Napa grass, also known as elephant grass, which are pretty useful for swamps and mangroves since, they're... But he also recommended me to add the opposite of oranges, apples, specifically apple blossoms. But he also recommended me to, add some new biomes other than the mangrove, specifically a island biome, which with beautiful waterfalls. So yeah, that'll be for next episode. Of course, these plants be introduced to the Sea World this episode, but next episode is when the island should be finished. Well, I should say islands. Well, until then, stay safe, stay secure, and don't be a fool. Hey, wait a minute, I forgot about something. Okay, it says here goes. Stay safe, stay secure, don't be a fool. See you later.